back to the future. The German Touring Car Masters 2000. Hello everyone, welcome to the fourth race weekend of the season in the German Masters, the touring car series of excitement throughout Germany. Today the races come to you from the Sachsenring, 2.1 mile narrow circuit near the city of Chemnitz in eastern Germany. 19 cars ready to go before a packed house here at the Sachsenring. There's your course. 21 gear changes ahead. It looks tough, it's tight, and yet it's fast.
Well, it's quite a nice circuit for me because for the driver it's very hard. It's going up and downhill, and well, you have to be really concentrated, and I think we're going to have really big fights and a nice race weekend. I hope so.
And so do these folks, the fans who have crowded in to the Sachsenring. Twice a year they hold races here, and on the pole for this event, there it is, Klaus Ludwig, the veteran, the senior citizen, as it will. Next to him, Dumbreck, two Mercedes up in front. Then Manuel Reuter and Jochen Winkelhock, two Opels running in the second row. In the third row, the hard luck kid, Uwe Alsen. Man, he has had tough luck this season. A lot of did not finishes. Modena is next to him. Marcel Timon, one of the young drivers in a Mercedes, along with Marcel Fazler. And then another Mercedes, Pedro Lamy from the Rosberg team, along with Eric Ellery from France. Then the man is out in front of the points, Bernd Schneider, miserable qualifying. Opel next to him, Bartels. So they're out on the lap to get ready. The fans are on their feet. We're ready to go racing. 30 laps here on this tight circuit. That's Klaus Ludwig on the left. Peter Dumbreck is on the right in the blue Mercedes, waiting for the green. And we're underway. And Ludwig gets a great jump. Ludwig will take the lead into the first corner, and there's quite a mess of pushing around inside, and Modena is spun out. Someone helped Modena into the gravel. And Bernd Schneider gets his share of a new corner here at the Sachsenring. Marcel Fazler's car has problems. He was evidently involved in some of the bumping going into the first corner. They come down the lower section, they move up a hill into a very easygoing left-hander, but the pressure will be on the right side tires. You can see Pedro Lamy's car. He had the hood going. This is Modena. Stefano Modena wants someone to push him out so he can keep going. Pedro Lamy has the car with the hood that just disappeared. New aerodynamics for Pedro Lamy, the Portuguese driver in his first year in the German Touring Car Masters. And Klaus Ludwig, the veteran, the 50-year-old veteran out in front. A 26-year-old Peter Dumbreck behind him. It was Dumbreck who said during qualifying, it's really bad to lose out in the last 7 minutes of qualifying to a man that could be your father. Christian Abt. Well, another bad day for Audi. They continue to have their problems. They've started back in the pack. They've had an uphill battle all the way, and they just continue to have their share of problems. Here comes your leader. Then comes Dumbreck, Manuel Reuter, Jochen Winkelhock, Eric Ellery, Uwe Alsen, Marcel Timon, and then comes Bernd Schneider. Now, Schneider, who is your points leader, started back in 11th position. He really had a tough qualifying, and now he's going to have to work his way up to front. Reuter, who is second in the points, needs to stay ahead of him here. There's only a 3-point difference between the two coming into the races this weekend at the Sachsenring. The cars sorting themselves out very nicely here. There really is one great place to pass, and this is one of them. You can cut inside to pass here. Look as Pedro Lamy on the inside comes out and bumps a little bit, and there goes Modena, and Lamy lost his hood and had to go to the pits. The rest of the field seems to work its way through pretty good. Marcel Fessler's car comes in. They're checking it out. He was involved in that bumping in the opening lap. See if they can get him back out. He's had a great season, actually. For a young driver coming in for the first time, they're getting the car worked on. He's actually right up there in the points race. But the question now is, can he get out and keep going? And Modena is back. He's on the track and running. Wow, he had such a great time, too, because he started off, he was fastest in the second practice session. The car was always up there, and he has always been in the top 5, 6, 7 cars for most of the time this season. He just hasn't had that big break to jump up front. And today, he's certainly going to have to fight his way back in a very narrow course, very, very fast course. Uwe Alsen in the Opel. Alsen, a man that has been fighting himself all the way through this season. He just can't seem to come to grips with that car. Alsen had a couple did not finishes at Hockenheim. He had a did not finish at Oschersleben. And it's been one of those. His best finish is a 6th place so far. Jaeger, he is in the pits. He's got problems. In fact, he's getting out. And that's tough because this is his home crowd. Born in Chemnitz, lives in Munich. He has to get out here in the first race to try to get the car ready for the second race of the day. This track in eastern Germany has about a 70-year history as we ride with Marcel Thiemann going into the chicane to come up to the start-finish line. Used to go back into the woods, and part of it was highway. Drivers will go through about 21 gear changes on a course that has 12, 13 corners, depending on how you count the benders. There are 5 second gear corners here, so you can see it's going to be tough on the cars. But what's even tougher is the fast corners are all left-handers, which is going to put the pressure on the right outside front tire. Alsen continues to put the pressure on Ellery in the battle for 5th position. The drivers feeling themselves out here in the opening moments of the race. Klaus Ludwig said that after he ran a long run on the second practice session yesterday, he said the tires will probably hold up for about a third of the race, and then they will start to wear down. Now, all the cars have to run the same tire put up by Dunlop, so nobody gets an advantage here. The question is going to be, will the tires hold up, especially with the high speeds in those left-handers? The right-handers are slow. The left-handers are the ones that put the pressure on that right front tire. Bernd Schneider continues to move through the field. Schneider has certainly had a great season so far. He's got 3 victories to his credit. He won the first 2 races of the season at Hockenheim, and then he picked up a win at the Norris Ring in the second race. And here he goes by Marcel Thiemann to move up another slot. He started in 11th. The closer he can get to Reuter, the better. And you're riding with Marcel Thiemann, who now gets a different view of Bernd Schneider. Instead of the rear view mirror, he's now looking right at him through the front windshield. Hans-Werner Alfresch, the man who runs the Mercedes operation, preparing these cars, and knows this man very well. Klaus Ludwig, 50 years old, a Le Mans winner, a touring car champion. He's the type of driver the fans either like or dislike, but they all come to see because they know he's really tough when it comes to touring cars. There are very few better than he is, and at 50 years of age, it looks like he hasn't slowed down at all. Back with Stefano Modena, the Italian, running for the Euro team, a one-car team, and they have been battling all season with this Opel. They got it late, and then were able to make it run, and it has qualified quite well. In fact, Modena can be quite happy with it, especially in the last couple of weeks of races. Qualified 6th here. He was 5th at the Norris Ring, 7th at Oschersleben, so the car is starting to run. Meanwhile, Uwe Alsen's going nowhere when it comes to Ellery, but someone right behind him is trying to make life difficult. That's Bernd Schneider. So Schneider has come from 11th right up into the battle for the 5th and 6th slot. Winkelhock, Ellery, Alsen, and then the man that's on top for Mercedes, Bernd Schneider. Through the chicane that leads down the start-finish line, cars will reach about 143 miles an hour when they get to the end of this one. Ooh, and Alsen got a little squirrely there. But everything seems to be going all right. The question is, can Schneider get by him? The passing here is very, very difficult. The one true place to pass is at the end of the back straight, where it's a second gear corner, a left-hander. They get up to about 149 miles an hour and then they have to break down, and that's one of the places that's a definite place to pass. They could pass at the end of the start-finish line, but after that it gets tough because the course winds a lot, goes up and downhill. Very, very difficult to find a place to get by unless you've got a superior car. If the cars are equal, well, then you really got to bide your time and hope that somebody makes a mistake, or you trick somebody, let them make a mistake, and you get by. Right now, this group are all experienced touring cars drivers. This is Christian Abt. He went out A shame for the Abt team, and his car won't be repaired. It doesn't look like he'll be able to get back for the second race. With the exception of Dumbrecht, the veterans are the ones that are running well here. Peter Dumbrecht, 26-year-old Scotsman, surprised everybody here by qualifying second. He started off very, very slowly, but boy, has he come on. And we have a car going off. It is Winkelhock. Jochen Winkelhock, and the Opel has gone off. So it's already one of the top Opel drivers is starting to have a bad day before he even thinks about it. Wow, he was up in the points. He had done so well at the Norris Ring, and now there he goes through the gravel and up against the wall. That's one of the faster parts of the course, too. So everybody will move up a notch. Ellery, Alsen, and Bernd Schneider continue to battle. Now it's for 4th, 5th, and 6th positions. This corner here is what the Germans like to call a courage corner, which means you're shifting up and you got your foot in the floor all the way to the floor until you come into this left-hander. There's another one right now as you go back up the hill. Then it gets a bend and another bend, and meanwhile you're just putting your foot to the floor until you hit a sharp S, and then you speed up into the top speed part of the course. Right now, Schneider is not putting that much pressure on Alsen. He is staying there, making sure he knows he's there, and Alsen went off the course. Uwe Alsen went off the course. More problems from the driver from Betzdorf, Germany. Wow. He's going to be happy when this season's over with. What happened? Goes into the corner and doesn't go anywhere. Straight ahead. Same thing that happened to Winkelhock. Tire problems. Right front. Here he comes in. They're going to see if they can change it. Get him back out there. Alsen, unfortunately, is getting used to the idea of coming into the pits for work during a race. They're putting the tires on, but discussing what to do about the car. Maybe there's more to it than just the tires. There comes Winkelhock under his own power. Not quite. Oh, he got stuck in the gravel. He almost made it out. He wants to come out, but wasn't quite there. And now, Bernd Schneider is putting the pressure on Ellery. Bernd Schneider works his way up on Eric Ellery. This is the battle for 4th position. And Ellery lets him by. Ellery evidently has some problems. Ellery pulled over and let Schneider by. So it's a Mercedes top 4, that's for sure. Only Manuel Reuter's car is between the leader and Schneider. Look here. Ellery has problems. He went off, went to the side, and let Schneider get by him. So now Bernd Schneider has an open track. He has to try to run down Manuel Reuter. You have the first and second players in the points race. Right there is Reuter. He's running third, and there comes Bernd Schneider. Schneider, your point leader, Reuter running second. But right now, he probably wishes he had more space than he does. This is one tight battle here right now. The difference is closing. Schneider obviously with a faster car. The Opels have shown problems with the tires here in that first race. The question is, 1, can Reuter bring the car home without having tire problems as some of his colleagues have had? And 2, while doing that, can he hold off Bernd Schneider? Schneider, also a former touring car champion, driven sports prototypes, did a little bit of Formula One driving, that in unsuccessful years of driving, you really just soon forget that. His big successes have come in touring cars and in the sports prototypes or GT cars. And right now, he'd like to keep that lead in the new German Touring Car Masters, which follows the German Touring Car Championship of several years ago. That series folded when it went international with the International Touring Car Championship. After that, it folded. There were some years here of super touring car racing, but they didn't quite catch on as these cars have. They came back and have done extremely well, thanks to drivers like this, Bernd Schneider and Manuel Reuter. Reuter, a consistent Opel driver, won the championship for them. Started off the season on the pole, made a small mistake, or he would have been probably further up into the points. Went off the course, Schneider went by, and Reuter never was able to catch up. And right now he knows that Bernd Schneider is right behind him. This is the battle for the title. It's also the battle for third place. Klaus Ludwig is your leader. Peter Dombrecht is running second. Norbert Haug, the team manager from Mercedes. It's all up to Bernd Schneider right now whether he can catch up with Reuter, because Ludwig and Dombrecht have just left everybody behind. Jaeger's car comes back out to get some laps in and possibly be able to start further up ahead of some of the other cars that are out. Schneider continues to close a gap as his teammate, Thomas Jaeger, is out on the course getting started. Jaeger, a little squirrely when he comes out of the pits. Once again, Manuel Reuter in the Opel, your third place car. Bernd Schneider in fourth. And the laps are counting down. Into the left-hander. The short chute, another left-hander and a chicane, and then the start-finish line straight. And Reuter is using up every bit of the track he can. There really are no curbs here on these corners, so they go right into the dirt. It throws up quite a fog when they go off. Schneider's within striking distance. It's going to be difficult to get by Reuter unless he has some problems or makes a mistake. The track is very difficult to pass. You cannot get by if the cars are equal. They just take up too much room. It's relatively narrow, especially with these up and downhill passages. This is also a testing ground for cars, and they're only allowed to have a couple of race weekends a year here. They have a World Championship motorcycle event, which is one of the reasons they have such a big runoff area on all the corners. And they plan to make some more changes next year. They got rid of a chicane this year and made it into a very fast left-hander, but evidently they plan to make some more changes so they can keep the World Championship motorcycle event. Motorcycles passed at will here, but the touring cars a little bit bigger, a little more difficult to get by. Reuter is still hanging in there. He's trying to hold off Bernd Schneider for third place. He's got one lap to go. Looks like Reuter will succeed. Schneider will have to settle for fourth place, which isn't bad because he will still very close in the points. Reuter will have moved up again. In fact, he will have taken the lead if he stays in position there. So the championship in the German Touring Car Masters will remain as tight as ever. Here in the first race of the two-race weekend at the Sachsenring in eastern Germany. Ludwig and Dombrecht 1 and 2 way out in front of these two. This is your battle for third and fourth position. Schneider, at this point, doesn't have much chance to catch up with Reuter. He's going to have to settle to stay right behind him as we come to the end of the first race. Reuter gets a little bit squirrely. Heading down to the fast section of the course, and Reuter goes off. More problems for Opel. Probably, again, that right front tire. The Opels that went off in about the same place, and they had the same problems. And there's your winner, Klaus Ludwig, followed by Peter Dumbreck. Ludwig wins his first race in the new series. Dumbreck comes up with his best finish ever, and there is Bernd Schneider finishing third. Schneider now has a big points lead. With quick math, Schneider now has 94 points. Reuter will finish way back. And we'll have to wait and see what he does get for points, but it'll mean that Schneider has certainly jumped out to a big lead. Marcel Timon, it's his best finish. He came in fifth today in the first race of two. There you have the top 8. Look at that, Darren Turner, the other young Mercedes driver, finishing 8th. Good for him. Timo Scheider, the 21-year-old, also coming in 7th. So the youngsters are there, but the veterans, well, some won. These two veterans, Winkelhock on the left and Reuter on the right, they had their problems. They went sailing into the guardrail. Now they got to hope they can get the cars back in time to get them ready for the second race of the day. There's Winkelhock's car. They're just going to have to try to push it in, hope they can get it repaired before the start of the second race here at the Sachsenring. Klaus Ludwig on the right, a happy man, 50-year-old, very disappointed in the first two races, and then all of a sudden, man, did he come back. He could be enjoying retirement. He certainly doesn't have to prove anything anymore. But the challenge of the new German Touring Car Masters was too much for Klaus Ludwig. The battle for seconds, the technology, the discussion with fellow drivers, it still fascinates him. This after 30 years of racing. There's a long list of successes. 3 times the man has won Le Mans. He's the most successful German driver there. He's taken the checkered flag 3 times at the 24 hours of the Nürburgring. In the original Touring Car Series in Germany, he took 2 titles and was runner-up 3 times. In the very best of German touring cars, the German Touring Car Championship, he was a 3-time champion. His work ethic is what makes it all possible. But it was the work ethic that didn't help him here. This is the Nürburgring 1989. Ludwig has spun, and watch, a horrible crash. Ludwig came back, but it's something he's always remembered. He's a perfectionist, and when the mistakes are his, they hurt the most. To destroy a weekend drives him crazy. After 2 difficult races this year at Hockenheim and Oschersleben, he returned to the top at the street course in Nuremberg, the Norris Ring. He was second in the first race. Mercedes team manager Norbert Haug was very happy for his veteran driver, and then in the second race, this. Watch as Ludwig in the middle cuts between 2 drivers, makes it through, and moves up. This is in a race in the rain. What a battle. Only Schneider and Reuter would finish ahead of him in this wet race at the Norris Ring. A second and third. Klaus Ludwig was back. So we're ready to go with the second race of the weekend here at the Sachsenring. 14 cars registered as finishing in the first race. That's the fewest number of cars that have finished a first race so far this season. Ludwig on front, Dumbreck second. They finished 1-2. They just ran away and left everybody behind. After a great drive, Bernd Schneider will be starting third. Aiello will be fourth. He's the best qualifying Opel for this second race. Then comes Marcel Timon with his best finish of a fifth. Michel Bartels continues to try to move up further. He's finishing in the middle top 10. Timo Scheider, the young driver in the Opel, doing extremely well. Christian Menzel and Marcel Fessler make up the next row. And looking back, there are the Audis, Nissan and Aiello. Abt-Audi will not be in the field. Manuel Reuter, way back in the pack, as is Stefano Modena. We saw him go out way early in the race. Uwe Alsen and then Jochen Winkelhock, also in the back of the pack. And with them, Pedro Lamy and Thomas Jaeger, two of the newcomers to the series. But there's certainly some powerhouse drivers sitting in the back of the pack. Abt was scheduled, the car won't run though. And Manuel Reuter will have to be starting from pit lane. They couldn't get the car ready to get it out on time, so he'll be starting from pit lane, which will put him way at the back of the pack. He's got a long way to go. The car took a lot of damage when he hit the wall. So the cars roll out. This race has been cut down to 24 laps instead of 30. The reason being the tires and safety. What has happened, no one can explain about the Opel problem with tires, and so the organizers have cut it down to 24 laps for the second race. And for the second time, Ludwig on the left gets the jump. Dumbreck just drops in there. And Ellery takes third place away from Bernd Schneider. Alec Ellery pushes Schneider back into fourth position. Schneider certainly in a better position than he had hoped for, because Reuter is starting way in the back out of the pit lane. So Schneider, who already has picked up a big lead here after the first race, has a chance now to expand that lead further. And can you believe it? Uwe Alsen's off the course again. And Christian Menzel is the man that was involved in that one. Uwe Alsen just can't buy a break here. In the first race this season, he had 2 DNFs. There's now 3 and an 8th place finish. In second races, what's he done there? He's had 1 he didn't start, and he had a 9th and a 6th, so he certainly hopes that this one goes better. There's your leader, Ludwig, followed by Dumbreck, Ellery, Schneider, Michel Bartels, and then Marcel Timon in that blue and white Mercedes. They've added red rear view mirrors to that car to make it easier to identify. Those two cars, the 2 teammate cars there, were difficult to figure out, the Pearson cars, but now with those red mirrors, see it right there, you make it much easier. So there you get to see your top 5 plus another 5. Winkelhock has moved all the way up to 10th place. Not bad considering he started way back in the pack. There's Winkelhock right there, but boy, does he have his work cut out for him. He's got to move a long way fast. He went out early, now he just has to keep working at it. There you see what happened. It looks like just a simple misunderstanding between Menzel and Uwe Alsen that cost them both positions. Menzel in the Irmscher Independent Opel has been struggling this season. We ride again with Stefano Modena. You can see part of the great crowd here. Over 32,000 today, over 59,000 for the weekend. They had a great crowd here yesterday for the 2 practice sessions in qualifying. They only run a rollout on Friday to check the cars, although because they only run here once a year and they can only get on the course once a year, they ran a test session on Thursday. Opel did run a long run there with the tires, and everything seemed to be okay at least. But here in the first race, the track just ate those right front tires up on the Opels, and they all went sailing off. It meant a great deal for Mercedes, but as far as the overall picture of the finish, it didn't help things much. Your leader, Klaus Ludwig, Dumbreck, then comes Ellery, Bernd Schneider, Michel Bartels, Marcel Timon, Timo Scheider, and Thomas Fessler. That's your top group right there. You have a bunch of young drivers there with Timon, Scheider, and Fessler all running together right there, that group. Fessler's done extremely well this season. But Dumbreck now records the fastest lap. That's his car right here, his Mercedes right there. He's running in second place. He's certainly making a name for himself now. He started off as a no-name, and nobody took him very seriously after the first 2 events, but once he got used to how things were running, he certainly has shown well here at the Sachsenring. Timo Schneider started off the season extremely well. And then he had his problems. And once again, Uwe Alton has his problems. The car in the pits. This man just has to hope that this bad luck streak has to end sometime. There are your top four. A Mercedes sandwich, Ellery running third for Opel. The fifth spot is Michel Bartels in an Opel. So Opel running two of the top five cars. Mercedes finishing 1, 2, and 3, though, in the first race of the day here at the Sachsenring. Eric Ellery, the Frenchman, very popular driver. He's had somewhat success. He won a couple races in super touring cars, and he's become very popular with the drivers. He just hasn't quite yet found his niche yet here. So far this season, he did not finish at Hockenheim, a 7th place there. He had a 4th and 10th at Oschersleben, 2 15th place finishes at the Norrisring, and then finished 4th in the first race here at the Sachsenring. So it's been an up and down season for him. The man behind him, well, he simply dominated. Bernd Schneider right now is running the course. Quite frankly, biding his time to wait and see if the Opels continue to have problems. Those tire problems in the first race were deadly as far as having them finish in the points, and Schneider can kind of wait to see if Ellery has problems or doesn't. Keep a little bit of the pressure on, keep forcing him to run, get him into those fast left-hand turns, and that right front tire, the one that the other Opel drivers had so much trouble with, well, who knows. Can only hope that Ellery brings it home. Peter Dumbrecht, a sign he's very happy to see, but not many people expected him to see, running second right there in that blue and silver Mercedes. Then comes Ellery, then comes Bernd Schneider. Schneider, 3 wins to his credit. A double win at Hockenheim, a 3rd and 12th at Oschersleben, and then a 4th and a victory at the Norrisring, and 3rd in the first race here today. So the only race he finished out of the top 10 was at Oschersleben. The fact is, we've had so far this season 2 double victories. Schneider took double victories at Hockenheim. Reuter took double victories at Oschersleben, leading from start to finish. And Marcel Fessler gets by Timo Schneider. This is the battle back in the pack among the young drivers. And way back in the pack, Manuel Reuter in his Opel, a yellow and white Opel, starting from the pit lane, has a long road to go. Right ahead of him is Winkelhock. And he is just going to have to see what he can do to work his way through. But he certainly is going to have a hard time. Both of them are. There's just no room on this track to get by, and if the cars stay equal, there's a hard time getting by. Christian Menzel with Laurent Aiello ahead of him, and the Audi driver goes off. When you consider that Laurent Aiello dominated the Super Touring cars and then was a champion in England, and then comes back and tries to run these cars, and they just don't want to run yet. And so he's gone from being the contender, the man everybody wanted to beat, to a man that's trying to catch up and at least get up into the top 10. Racing fortunes can be tough. Marcel Timon in the Mercedes with the red mirrors, followed by Marcel Fessler, and ahead of them, well, Timo Schneider goes off. Timo Schneider decides to find a different line through that corner. The young driver has done extremely well, but in the last few races, Schneider has fallen back. He was surprised everybody at Hockenheim with 2 4th-place finishes, a 5th and 7th at Oschersleben, but then 12th and 11th and a 7th here. So it's been up and down for him, but things have cooled off just a little bit. Marcel Timon working up on Bartels, and there you see Timo Schneider going off. Looks like simply a mistake on his part. No defect whatsoever. Meanwhile, Look at this. Bernd Schneider now is pulling up and filling up the rearview mirror of Eric Ellery. And Marcel Timon, well, he's trying to move up also. Timon has done extremely well this season. He's been relatively consistent, quite frankly. He's not been up there. Well, he did lead once. He led at the Norris Ring. But he has certainly been able to finish up in the top group, is more than most people would have expected him to. There's the pack that is back, Modena out in front, and all the Chargers who had to start at the back of the pack today are now having to work their way through as Jaeger is in that group. He was had problems, and this is the whole group working its way back through the field. This is the front straight into the right-hander that takes you downhill through a left-hander, and then they make a sweeping right at the bottom of the hill. There's a short shoot here, and then some sailing back uphill again. Modena, Jaeger, Winkelhock, Reuter. Normally a powerhouse group. And they're just fighting for existence here after having a difficult time in the first race because of tires. Timon continues to roll. The end of the fastest part of the course. These are the turns that have hurt people. This is the left-hander that takes them up to the start-finish line. Fessler out in front of Timon. Stefano Modena ahead of him. The field has certainly sprung big differences here in packs. You see this backpack are the group that had the problems in the first race, had to start way back, and are simply trying to get up into the points. And certainly Manuel Reuter would like to get up into some sort of points. Bernd Schneider is running up, and there goes Modena. Stefano Modena has gone off the course. More problems for the Opel driver. Let's hope that is not something that's, again, with the Opels. The Opel fans had a hard race the first time. Here in this second one, well, he goes through. Looks like it may have been a driver error on this one. He gets sideways, who knows? And he loses 4 positions very, very quickly. There you see it. He was on his own. He didn't get any help. Of all the drivers in the field, come to think about it, well, Fessler has done extremely well. But Schneider, of course, your points leader, has been the man that's been in charge of quality finishes. Here's the group in the back again. Bartels. And Fessler gets around Bartels, ducks inside. So does Timon. And Michel Bartels, let's see if it was a problem. If they pull away, then Bartels has a problem, and everybody else is going to be able to get by him. And the Opels again. Cross their fingers if they can come across the finish line as you're riding with Marcel Timon. This race, as we mentioned earlier, shortened from 30 to 24 because of the unusual problems with tires that occurred in the first race. It was scheduled for 30 and they put it back to 24 for safety reasons. Bernd Schneider continues to roll. There's what's happened. You can see they bumped just a little bit. Fessler and Bartels bumped. Fessler had gotten inside. Timon took advantage of it and swung by. Meanwhile, Bernd Schneider continues to be one of the most successful drivers this season so far. No driver has finished in the top 5 in all 7 races so far, but Schneider has only fallen out of one of them. So he's 6 or 7 in the top 5, and that's why he's out in front in points. Reuter had been up there with him, but in the first race, Reuter went off on the very last lap and certainly dropped way back. Oddly enough, up until today, only one driver had finished in the top 10 in all the races. That was Jochen Winkelhock, but he went off in the first race, so that one's gone. The Sachsenring is taking its toll on just about everybody except that man, Peter Dumbreck, the Scotsman. Having one heck of a race day. Sitting up in second place, you just don't get to see him because he and Klaus Ludwig are simply running away from everybody. And once again, Bernd Schneider starts to apply pressure, this time on Eric Ellery. This is the battle for third place. Let's face it, Schneider knows the Opels had problems in the first race. The track was very difficult on the right front tires of the Opels. And if Schneider can keep the pressure on Ellery, he can hope that something goes wrong with the car, because otherwise he won't get by him. Ellery had problems in the first race, and then through sportsmanship let him by, but right now sportsmanship is out. Bernd's going to have to get by him somehow, on his own. They stayed up with the leaders pretty well. There's your second place car, Peter Dumbreck. But Schneider continues to pull up here. They'll go through the chicane. And down the straight in front of the pit area, there goes Dumbreck, and here comes that battle for third. Just a few laps to go, as these two are battling for the third position. Klaus Ludwig is looking at a double victory. And Ludwig certainly will be back in the points race. And Peter Dumbreck will certainly have gained a lot of respect. But they're out of the picture right now because the battle's right here. Bernd Schneider pressuring the Frenchman Eric Ellery in the waning moments of the second race of the day in the German Touring Car Masters here at the 2.19-mile Sachsenring near the city of Chemnitz, Germany. It's a demanding track, one of the few in Germany that have up and downhill segments of this type. They like to claim this to be the little Nürburgring. Of course, the Nürburgring, the famous long course, 14 miles with up in the mountains. No other course in the world like it. But this is one of the few courses in Germany, among the new ones particularly, that has some hill sections in it of any real quality. The Grand Prix course of Nürburgring has a hill, but nothing like what they have here. Uh-oh, Ellery's got a problem. Ellery's going off. There was that right front tire. You saw it lock up. Bernd Schneider had luck. And Norbert Haug can't believe his luck, or the misfortune, shall we say, for Opel. Now the question is, can Bernd Schneider pull up from third to second or first even? Oh, look at that. The tire locked up, and Ellery goes off. What a dark day for the Opel crew here at the Sachsenring. There's going to be a lot of talk about this one tomorrow morning when they sit down and go back over this one. Back in the pack, you have Timo Scheider still trying to move up. The young 21-year-old certainly continues to make a name for himself, but he has had his problems here over the past few races. And right now, he's out there to push, and he's push as hard as he can. The course has taken its toll on all types of drivers. This is one of those that you just kind of have to wonder how everybody got through it, especially when it's all over with, because no one's exactly sure why things have happened the way they are. The battle you're watching right now is back in the 6th, 7th, and 8th slots with Michael Bartels, Timo Scheider, and Darren Turner. Darren Turner, another of the young drivers that we haven't heard too much of this season, but there he is in that trio. And there goes Marcel Tiemann. Here they come. This is the battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Michel Bartels, Timo Schneider, and Darren Turner. 2 Opels and a Mercedes. Actually, the Opels are holding up the Opel flag here, and they're about the only ones that have been able to do it. With Ellery gone, right now it seems to be a Mercedes parade. There's Eric Ellery, not a very happy man. It's more a case here as if Bartels and Schneider can hold off Darren Turner to hold up the honor of Opel. Because it's been a long afternoon for Volker Stritzik and the Opel crew. After doing so well the past couple of race weekends, and then to have something like this, wow. Bernd Schneider has recorded the fastest lap. In the first race, it was Faisler who had the fastest lap. Schneider comes up with his 4th fastest lap of the season. Bernd certainly have quite a year, even though he's had to fight back after a bad qualifying here. He's worked his way back up to a 3rd place finish in the first race. He's running 3rd now, and certainly will expand his points lead, with Manuel Reuter struggling at the back of the pack. We're in the waning moments of the 4th race weekend of the year in the German Touring Car Masters. A series that started this year to great success with the fans. They have come out in large numbers. Mercedes, Opel, and Audi, the teams involved. Next year, they're hoping that even more teams will be joining them. Of course, the big question is, will the other German big racing firm BMW come back in? But right now, there's the man of the day. Klaus Ludwig, 50 years old. A touring car legend in Germany. Bernd Schneider, the man right now chasing a rookie and the legend, running 3rd. He'll settle for 3rd. He gets a little squirrely as they're heading into the uphill part of the course. They make the left-hander and swing all the way back down the hill. Unless something happens, Schneider will finish 3rd. Dumbreck will have by far his best season event ever. 2 second-place finishes. He's certainly proven himself today. And, of course, Klaus Ludwig will become, if he keeps going, will become the 3rd double winner this season. At the Norris Ring, Winkelhock and Schneider split the 2 races. Other than that, the pole sitter has taken the victory, and it's happened to Ludwig here. Schneider certainly putting on a tremendous performance, but it's not going to be quite enough. Once again, Norbert Haug. There's Faisler in that black Mercedes, and here comes Klaus Ludwig to pick up the victory, and he has problem with his tires. Can you believe that? Right as he goes across the finish line, he has tire problems. Klaus Ludwig has won the 2nd race of the day here at the Sachsenring. Klaus Ludwig definitely is back. Norbert Haug, a very happy man for Mercedes. They did their work, and they were able to come home with the victory. And Mercedes finishes 1 through 5. Michel Bartels and Timo Schneider, 6th and 7th, were the top Opels. Way back in the pack, Manuel Reuter. He will finish 11th. So he is out of the points, which means Bernd Schneider has picked up a tremendous number of points here after the races here at the Sachsenring. Klaus Ludwig will move probably into 3rd. There are your finishing top 8. You can see the top 5, all Mercedes. 8th place, also Mercedes. Difficult time for the Opel crew. And there's Klaus Ludwig. Has to be a very happy man. Dumbreck on the left, Bernd Schneider on the right. And there are your points. Schneider way out in front, 106 points. Manuel, Reuter, 79. The next stop on the tour, it'll be at the Nürburgring, the Grand Prix course, in the 5th race weekend of the German Touring Car Masters. We leave you now with the shots of the day here at the Sachsenring. Hope you enjoyed the races from the Sachsenring. This is Milt Fitzwater reporting. Join us.